Okay, hello, my name is Alexander Pinescu, and today we're going to be talking about someone you might know. His name is Saddam Hussein. Saddam Hussein was the dictator of Iraq from 1979 to 2003. He plunged his country and the neighboring countries in endless wars with pretty much nothing gained from them. He left his mark on his country. He, along with his regime, was deposed by the Americans in Operation Iraqi Freedom. But how did a small boy from the poorest part of Iraq come to be in power of a whole entire nation? Let's find out. Saddam Hussein was born on April 28, 1937, in a small poor region of Iraq called Tikrit. His father and older brother died before he was born, and so his mother could not carry the pain due to emotional burden. At the age of 3, Saddam had to move to Baghdad with his uncle at the age of 3 years old. His uncle was a supporter of a local political group called the Ba'ath Party. The Ba'ath Party was a left-leaning socialist group who supported Arab unity and was against Western aggression. The Ba'ath Party made many decisions that Saddam Hussein had as a dictator. When Saddam Hussein was 20 years old, in 1956, he joined the Ba'ath Party. He and other Ba'ath Party members rebelled against King Faisal later in 1956. The rebellion failed, but in 2 years later after the rebellion, King Faisal was deposed by army officers and Iraq became a republic. Later in 1958, Saddam Hussein and party members tried again to depose the current Iraqi government at the time by trying to assassinate the Prime Minister Abd al-Karim Qasim. He failed and fled to Syria, then to Egypt. While he was in Egypt, he studied law at the University of Cairo from 1962 to 1963. In 1963, the Ba'ath Party finally gained control of Iraq. However, the turmoil in Iraq never stops, and later in 1963, the Ba'ath Party was overthrown by the rival political factions. Saddam Hussein was imprisoned from 1963 to 1965 and later escaped from a prison break. He became deputy director of the Ba'ath Socialist Party in Iraq. In 1979, Saddam Hussein was effectively the dictator of Iraq. Remember how I said the Ba'athist ideals affected Saddam Hussein's decisions as a dictator? Well, it did. Saddam's goals for Iraq was to support Egypt as leader of the Arab world and for Iraq to be the dominant power in the Persian Gulf. He looked towards his neighbors to support these goals. Saddam Hussein saw the current regime of Iran at the time as a threat to his own regime. He also saw that oil. So, in 1980, Saddam invaded Iran for oil. The war, it didn't end well. It did not end well at all. Both sides got in a stalemate and one cannot win over the other. This lasted for 8 years and destroyed the economy. By 1988, Saddam Hussein signed an armistice with the Iranian government, and the two nations were at peace. The war went on for 8 years until 1988, where both sides signed the armistice. So, as you can imagine, going for war for 8 years and not getting a return hurts your economy and your stage as a leader. What do? Trade with other nations, open resources? Invade Kuwait, and that's exactly what Saddam did. In 1990, he used the justification as reclaiming old Arab land to invade Kuwait. Later, a couple months in 1991, U.S.-led forces were stationed in Kuwait and repelled Saddam's army in 6 weeks. Both sides came to an armistice, and the armistice included that Saddam Hussein would stop production of weapons of mass destruction, and that the U.S. would be allowed to observe his destruction of the weapons of mass destruction. By 2002, the U.S. formally declared Iraq as a terrorist nation, and in 2003, the U.S. coalition invaded Iraq. Saddam was found in a small bunker in Tikrit. He was charged for crimes against humanity and sentenced to a U.S. prison until 2006, where he was hanged. Saddam Hussein left a mark on his country forever. Now, there are terrorist groups in the eastern part of Iraq, including ISIS. Now there are terrorist groups in the eastern parts of Iraq, including ISIS. Kurdish nationalists have been shooting people, and people have been fighting back. And now currently Saudi Arabia and Iran are currently using Iraq as a buffer state, fueling war and tensions between those two. Saddam Hussein left his country in chaos and plunged his country into countless wars that did not benefit Iraq in any way. It left them isolated in the international community. It left many of its things bankrupted and its land destroyed. Let's hope that the people of Iraq find solace in a good and democratic leader. Until then, our hopes and prayers are with them. Thank you. This is Alex Bernescu. Thank you for your time.